Hey y'all, happy Sunday. So I just wanted to hop on here real quick and give an underlining message that I received from watching The Karate Kid. Now, mind you, I have watched this movie plenty of times, but I have never received this message until I watched it on yesterday. Jaden learned karate when him and his mom was living within the United States. However, his mom accepted a new position, a new job that caused them to move to a new country, a new place, a new area. And so while he was at the park, he had met another American guy and he had met a girl who was playing the violin. Now, he was trying to defend this girl from bullies that was trying to tell her what she needed to do. And because he tried to defend someone that he didn't know, he opened up himself to attack, to be bullied, to be tormented, to be tortured. So he tried to fight against them. But what he learned back in the US could not stand against what those kids had learned in China. He learned karate in the US, but the kids knew kung fu. And so once they defeated him, they continued to try to beat him up. They continued trying to bully him because they knew that he was afraid, one, and they knew that they could overpower him, two. So later on in the movie, he tried to get them back. He threw some type of substance on them that made them dirty, and he took off running. Now, in the midst of him running, it was like him against maybe 5 or 6 other boys. I can't remember. But in the midst of him running, they ended up coming into an enclosed area. And so now it's all of these boys against him. It was one guy that came out and fought each and every last one of them and defeated all of them. One guy took on 6 people by himself. And so when Jaden saw what the guy had done, he then connected himself with the guy and tried to, talk to the guy about, him training him so that, he could protect himself. And so in the midst of all of this, both Jaden and who would now be his trainer decided to go to the area where the other boys were. Now, their coach was wicked, evil, taught the kids stuff that he really didn't need to be teaching them. So the other boys were then instructed to leave Jaden alone so that Jaden could train to fight them individually in front of a crowd of people during a tournament. So at the tournament, Jaden saw all of the boys that had been bullying him fight against other people. So Jaden was afraid. And so when it came time to fight in his first match, he kept running. But then when he saw himself and how terrified he looked, how scared he looked, how foolish he looked, how ridiculous he looked, when he saw himself running away from the very thing that he had been not only trained, not only instructed to do, when he saw himself and he was like, okay, I can't be running. I was trained to fight. So once he got that in his mind frame, he was able to defeat everybody in those small rounds prior to the semifinal. Now, the other coach at this time is surprised because this little boy done beat all of these people in the little small fights. He wasn't expecting that. So instead of him just seeing where this boy was going to do in regards to in the semifinals, he instructed his student to break him. And his student said, I can beat him. And he said, I don't want him beaten. I want him broken. So what did the little boy do? He broke Jaden's leg. Jaden, determined to continue the fight, said to his trainer, do the fiery cup thing. His trainer was like, why do you want to fight? Even a doctor told him, you have brought honor to your family. You should not continue. Jaden told his trainer, he said, I am still afraid. That's why I want to fight. He had already fought the kids that were a part of the group, but he didn't fight the main kid. The main kid that bullied him, the main kid that tortured him, tormented him, beat him up. He wanted to fight that kid. And he did not want to leave that tournament without receiving the chance to fight him, because he knew that if he did not fight him in that moment, that he would still be afraid. So in the midst of all of this chaos, in the midst of all of this opposition, Jaden knew that he still had to fight. No matter he was hurt, no matter that somebody attempted to break his leg so that he couldn't continue, he knew that he had to get some type of inner strength to fight this fight. He took the boy out twice. And that third time, the boy's coach instructed him, finish him. How many of us have opened ourselves up to attack because we, one, tried to defend people that we didn't know, or two, because we tried to follow after what was right? How many of us have opened up ourselves to attack because we tried to follow after what was right? When Jaden saw them boys picking on that girl, he stood in. When he stood in, he opened up himself to attack. Then he had to undergo training to be able to fight each and every one of the boys that bullied him, tormented him, and tortured him. These boys were instructed to leave him alone so that he could train. Once his training was complete, they all went to a tournament. Jaden even said, wouldn't it be great if I won this whole thing? Wouldn't it be great if I won this whole thing? This was even before the fights. Wouldn't it be great if I won this whole thing? Jaden didn't even know that he was prophesying over his own life. He talked himself into winning a whole tournament. So I am here to tell you today, no matter the opposition that you are facing, those small victories get you to the semifinals. And even when you are in the semifinals, it doesn't stop there. You still have to continue to fight. People will talk bad against you. People will try to throw dirt on your name. People will try to break you. The enemy will send people into your life to try to break you. But even in the midst of that, even in the midst of people trying to break you, even in the midst of people trying to oppose you, you have to have it in your mind and in your heart that you are going to continue the fight, especially if you know that you are still scared. And when you fight that last fight that tried to take you out, victory is yours. Victory is yours. no matter what you've done in the past, those things cannot help you to where you are trying to go. You have to undergo training, retraining, the retraining of your mind, the retraining of your body, the retraining of your spirit. And while you are in the midst of retraining everything that you have, unlearning the things that you were taught, he had to unlearn karate so that he could learn kung fu. He had to learn how to empty his mind. He had to learn how to say good things. He had to learn how to focus. That's what I meant to say. He had to learn how to focus on the things that were important, on the things that were ahead of him in order to get to the places that it was meant for him to go to. And sometimes in the midst of all of that, we have to disconnect ourselves from people. When those boys disconnected themselves from being able to bully him, when they were instructed to disconnect themselves from bullying him and torturing him so that Jaden could undergo training, when Jaden finished the training, them boys were paying attention to him. They saw him advancing. And in the midst of him advancing, his coach, break him. I don't want him beaten. I want him broken. That's the enemy. The enemy sees you advancing in life. He sees you advancing. He don't want you beaten. The enemy wants you broken. He wants your faith. He wants your hope. He wants the love that you have for God. He will send any distraction in your way to keep you from fighting the fight that you were meant to fight. But because you decided to keep going, you have the victory. Go back and watch that movie. Jaden is the true depiction of, I don't care what all of this looks like. He is the true depiction of how am I trying to say it? He is the true depiction of, even in the face of opposition, I am going to fight the good fight. There it is. I'm going to fight the good fight because I know that I will prevail and I know that I will have victory. So it doesn't matter if you are afraid. First off, the Bible says, for God does not give you a spirit of fear, but the spirit of power, love, and sound mind. So it doesn't matter if you are afraid. As long as you are willing to continue to fight, God will meet you where you are and you will have victory. So y'all be blessed on this Sunday. Go back and watch The Karate Kid. Go back and watch it. That movie is going to bless your life. Peace. Till next time.